We are just a thread in the vibrant tapestry of life.
Life is not a battle to be won, but a dance to be danced.
Fatigue is like an out-of-tune violin. Sometimes we need to adjust the strings.
Our freedom lies not in controlling everything, but in how we react to the inevitable.
Welcome. This is Ruby and Oliver, and today I have the honor of hosting two extraordinary masters. Alan Watts, one of the most influential philosophers of the 20th century, and Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher whose reflections remain relevant to this day. Their presence here is a true gift for all of us. The theme of today is, individuality will drain your strength until you destroy your life. In a world where individualism is celebrated as the highest virtue, we need to understand the hidden dangers of this mindset. This theme is especially relevant today, as we see so many people struggling alone against anxiety, depression, and burnout, believing they must carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. During our conversation, we will explore, how can excessive individualism isolate and weaken us? How can we find harmony in the midst of chaos? Is inner peace in a chaotic world like ours just an illusion? So, get ready for a transformative journey. Let's start with a fundamental question that touches the essence of being human. Alan, is individuality an illusion we must transcend, or is it a fundamental part of our human experience?
Rubian, that's a fascinating question. Imagine existence as a vast ocean. Each of us is like a unique wave, formed by different forces and circumstances, but fundamentally part of the same body of water. Individuality may seem illusory when we contemplate the deep interconnection of everything. Our experiences, memories, and feelings are shaped not only by our actions but also by the influence of those around us. During deep meditation, we realize that we are just a thread in the vibrant tapestry of life, suggesting that individuality may be a mask we wear. But there is another side to this coin. Our individuality gives us with a unique sense of being, an unmistakable personal story. It is through it that we express our creativity and contribute to the world. Every idea, act of compassion, or artistic creation is born from that unique spark we call the self. Instead of simply transcending it, we need to embrace our individuality while maintaining the awareness that we are part of something greater. It is in this dance between unity and individuality that we find one of life's most beautiful experiences.
Fascinating perspective, Alan. Marcus, what about you? How do you see this duality between individuality and transcendence in our human journey?
When we observe individuality through the philosophical lens Rubian, we realize that it goes beyond a mere illusion. It is an intrinsic part of the human experience. Think of a mosaic. Magnificent, each piece is unique and different, but together they create a cohesive and meaningful image. Similarly, our individual singularities enrich the fabric of the human community. However, the secret lies in balance. Our individuality should not blind us to the understanding that we share a common nature. It's like a majestic river. Each drop has its own characteristics, but they all flow together toward the same destination. It's not about completely transcending our individuality, but honoring it while recognizing our deep connection with all beings. True wisdom lies in living fully as individuals, while maintaining the awareness that we share a common path under the same sky.
Incredible how these visions complement each other. While Alan brings us the metaphor of the ocean and its waves, Marcus presents the mosaic and the river. I've learned that we don't have to choose between being an individual or part of the whole. We can be both. It's like a symphony where each instrument maintains its unique identity while contributing to the harmony of the ensemble. Let's explore more about this in our next question. Now let's explore a question that we all face at different moments in life. Alan, is the fatigue of life a sign that we need to change direction, or just an inevitable part of the human journey?
Rubian, this is a profound reflection that deserves our attention. The fatigue of life is like an out-of-tune violin. When the notes don't flow harmoniously, we need to adjust the strings so that the music makes sense again. There is a natural wisdom in these moments of exhaustion. It's like observing the cycles of nature. Trees lose their leaves, the earth rests between harvests. Each season brings its own burden and beauty, teaching us that rest is as vital as action. Fatigue can be a subtle messenger inviting us to reevaluate our choices and direction. Instead of fearing it, we can face it as an opportunity for self-reflection. What is asking to change? What lessons is this moment bringing? Life is like a flowing river, and sometimes we just need to stop on the shore, observe the current, and perhaps choose a new vessel to continue our journey.
What an interesting analogy of the out-of-tune violin, Alan. Marcus, I would like to hear your perspective on this fatigue that sometimes visits us. Is it a call for change, or simply part of the journey?
Look, Rubian, the fatigue of life is like those storms that arise on the horizon, inevitable and often necessary for renewal. It's natural to feel exhausted, as if we are struggling against endless waves. When this fatigue appears, it acts like an internal compass that may be alerting us to a detour in our path. It's like a traveler who, lost on unclear paths, feels the weight of fatigue as a sign to recalibrate their direction. However, there is also the fatigue that simply comes with the journey, the kind that arises from fighting for something we love or facing necessary challenges. The crucial question is, are we allowing this exhaustion to transform us and prepare us for the next chapters?
Fascinating how each answer sheds light on a different aspect of this very human phenomenon. Alan shows us how fatigue can be a natural teacher of life cycles, while Marcus presents it as a compass for our path. I now realize that fatigue is not necessarily an enemy, but a guide that can help us find more balance and meaning in our journey. I hope you who are watching us have also recognized the importance of these words. And of course, leave your like to show how much you appreciate this subject. Don't forget to subscribe as well, because every week we will bring great names from ancient wisdom to answer these profound questions that are so important in our lives. But now we have another question that touches the essence of our existential experience. Alan, is life a dance or a battle? And how can we find harmony amidst the chaos?
Rubian, it's interesting how life manifests as both simultaneously. It's like a complex choreography where we need to be both dancers and warriors. Imagine a martial arts performance. There is fighting, but there is also grace and fluidity in every movement. Life has its moments of lightness, where we find rhythm and connection, not just with ourselves, but with everything around us. It's like a symphony that plays different melodies each day, and our task is to learn to keep up with these changes in tempo. Challenges are inevitable, but the key is to accept both aspects. Acceptance is like a smooth choreography. You don't resist, but flow with the movements. Sometimes, we need to pause, breathe, and observe the scene around us, recognizing that each difficulty is a new step to be learned. Think of a bamboo in the wind. It bends but does not break. Its flexibility is its strength. We too can develop this resilience, seeing difficult moments not as battles to be won, but as steps in a greater dance.
What a profound perspective, Alan. The analogy of the bamboo is especially touching. Marcus, how do you see this duality between dance and battle? And how can we find harmony in the apparent chaos?
Life, Rubian, is essentially a dance, even when it presents itself as a battle. Like in a complex waltz, there are moments of fluidity and others of apparent dissonance, but all are part of the same cosmic choreography. The chaos we perceive is part of the natural order of things. Nature itself teaches us this through its cycles of transformation. Harmony is not found in the absence of difficulties, but in our ability to keep the rhythm even when the music seems dissonant. The practice of self-reflection is like a silent rehearsal. It allows us to refine our internal movements to better flow with the external ones. When we retreat into stillness, we can better discern the steps to take, transforming apparent battles into graceful movements. Gratitude becomes our dance partner on this journey. Each challenge is an opportunity to learn a new step, and when we embrace this perspective, life becomes less of a battleground and more of a stage for expressing our strength and resilience.
Extraordinary how both perspectives intertwine into a profound wisdom. Alan shows us how we can be both dancers and warriors, while Marcus reveals that even chaos is part of a larger choreography. I've learned that true harmony lies not in avoiding battles, but in transforming them into dance steps. Before we continue, let me give you an amazing tip. Did you know that it's very easy to get ahead of 99% of people, succeeding in everything you want for your life? I'll leave a link below in the description to a book that changed my view on various aspects of my mind and has been helping thousands of people find clarity and confidence to achieve their goals and dreams. Be sure to check it out. I'm sure you'll love it. Returning to our discussion, I have another question that touches the core of our existence. Alan, is control over our lives an illusion or a necessity to find stability and purpose?
Rubian, this discussion about control is fascinating. Imagine we are sailing on an immense sea, where the waves and winds represent the uncertainties of life. When we try to control every detail, it's like trying to shape the waves to our advantage, but that is far from the true essence of sailing. Excessive control can give us a false sense of security, like a captain who believes he can master the storm. True wisdom lies in learning to float with the waves, accepting that uncertainty is part of our destiny. When we open ourselves to the unknown, we find not only internal stability through the resilience we develop, but also a space to explore what truly matters. Fear may drive us to seek control, but discovering that this pursuit is, in many ways, an illusion allows us to live more lightly. For a wise sailor, the secret is not in avoiding the storm, but in learning to dance with it, allowing meaning to reveal itself naturally.
Very interesting, Alan. But Marcus, how do you see this issue of control in our lives? Is it really necessary for us to find stability?
Look, Rubian, true stability and purpose do not come from the illusion of absolute control, but from accepting what we cannot change. It's like the trees that do not control the wind that sways them, but adapt to it. We can cultivate an inner retreat, that peace that comes from living according to our essence and principles, regardless of external storms. It's this internal harmony that allows us to face challenges with calmness and resilience. Life is a dance between what we can govern and what is imposed upon us. Our freedom lies not in controlling everything, but in how we react to what happens. Purpose reveals itself not in fighting against the currents of life, but in learning to navigate through them with dignity and serenity.
What profound reflections. Alan shows us how excessive control can be a trap, while Marcus reminds us of the importance of adaptability. I realize that true mastery lies in finding a balance between action and acceptance, like a conductor who doesn't control every note but guides the orchestra with wisdom. But now let's move on to another question. A question that touches the essence of our existential quest. Alan, should we seek meaning and purpose, or simply accept life as it is, without trying to control it?
Rubian, this is a doubt that resonates deeply within all of us. Imagine you are in a boat on a river. You can paddle hard, trying to steer the boat wherever you want, or you can simply float with the current, allowing the river to guide you. Seeking meaning and purpose is like wanting to paddle. We are constantly trying to make sense of our experiences, shape our paths, find a goal. This can bring satisfaction and a sense of accomplishment. It is the quest that makes us grow, that allows us to learn from our experiences, even the most challenging ones. On the other hand, accepting life as it is, without the need to control it, is fundamental for inner peace. This acceptance is often liberating, allowing us to detach from expectations and the desire for control. When we surrender to the flow of life, we can find beauty in the little things and savor each moment. The trick is to find a balance. We can seek a purpose while also accepting that the path may be uncertain and that beauty lies in the journey, not just in the destination. After all, life is a constant dialogue between the two approaches.
What an enlightening perspective, Alan. Marcus, how do you see this dynamic between actively seeking purpose and accepting the natural flow of life?
Look, Rubian, this question touches on something fundamental in our nature. It's like a gardener who plants his seeds with intention and purpose, but knows he cannot control the rain or the sun. He works in harmony with the natural elements. The search for meaning is intrinsic to being human, reflecting our rational nature. When we live consciously and intentionally, we achieve a deeper fulfillment and a greater connection with ourselves and with others. Accepting life as it is does not mean giving up on that search for depth. It is recognizing the fluidity of circumstances and focusing on what we can shape, our thoughts and actions. Wisdom lies in finding a balance, accepting what we cannot change, but also search for a purpose that guides us in the decisions we make. This search for meaning helps us live more authentically, aligned with our values and principles, while acceptance brings us peace in the face of adversity.
It's impressive how both perspectives show us that we don't have to choose between seeking and accepting. Alan brings us the metaphor of the river and the boat, while Marcus presents the wisdom of the gardener. I realize that the true meaning may lie precisely in this dance between acting with purpose and flowing with life. Let's continue our exploration. Let's reflect on a question that touches our perception of life. Alan, is beauty found in the small things or in the greatness of a larger purpose? How can we balance these views?
Rubian, this question is a subtle dance between the micro and the macro, between the details that often go unnoticed and the grand ideals that shape our lives. It's like a garden. Each flower, each leaf has its own unique beauty, but it's the whole that creates a stunning scene. The beauty in small things lies in living in the present, savoring a hot coffee, listening to a child's laughter, or appreciating the sunlight filtering through the trees. These simple moments connect us to life in a visceral way, reminding us of the fragility and preciousness of now. On the other hand, the greatness of a larger purpose gives us direction and meaning. It's what drives us to act, to dream, and to create change in the world. Think of people who dedicate their lives to noble causes. They see beyond the difficulties of everyday life and are guided by a broader vision. To balance these views, it's essential to cultivate appreciation for everyday moments while embracing our goals and dreams. Just like a tree that grows strong, its roots feed on the nutrients found in the soil, while its branches stretch out in search of the sun.
What a beautiful analogy of the tree, Alan. Marcus, how do you see this duality between the beauty of the everyday and the greatness of a larger purpose?
You know, Rubian, beauty reveals itself both in small things and in the pursuit of a larger purpose. Often, we get lost in the hustle and bustle of daily life, seeking grandeur, and forget the delicacy that exists in a simple smile, in the gentle breeze that touches our face, or in the song of birds at dawn. These small things anchor us to reality. It's like a conductor leading a symphony. Without a larger purpose, the notes of life can lose themselves in disharmony. A purpose calls us to act, to fight for virtues, and to seek a greater good, where our actions resonate in the hearts of others. To balance these views, it's necessary to focus on the present, appreciating the small joys as we walk toward our goals. Each day is an opportunity to find this balance, remembering that the beauty of living lies in the union of the simple and the sublime, in every gesture we make and in every goal we set.
What enriching perspectives! Alan shows us how the garden of life blooms both in the details and in the whole, while Marcus reminds us that we are part of a greater symphony. I realize that true beauty lies in knowing how to appreciate both the dew on the petal and the infinite horizon. Now let's explore a question that deeply touches our quest for serenity. Alan, is it possible to find inner peace in a constantly changing world? Or is that just a comforting illusion?
Rubian, imagine you are a leaf floating in the current of a river. The river is always in motion, changing direction, carrying that leaf along unexpected paths. When we struggle against the current, trying to anchor ourselves in one place, we end up worn out and frustrated. However, by accepting that movement is natural, that life is in constant transformation, we find a way to detach from that struggle. Inner peace does not mean being in a perpetually tranquil state, but rather learning to navigate through turbulent waters without despair. It's like dancing in the rain instead of waiting for it to stop. Accepting uncertainty, embracing change, and understanding that life is made of ups and downs allows us to cultivate internal stability. And yes, it may seem like a comforting illusion, but this illusion is, in fact, a profound truth. When we recognize that change is the only constant, we begin to see the beauty of the present, realizing that inner peace is not a distant destination, but a state of being that we can choose, even when external storms insist on surrounding us.
Fascinating perspective of the leaf in the river, Alan. Marcus, how do you see this possibility of finding peace in such a dynamic and sometimes chaotic world?
Look, Rubian, the search for inner peace amidst the chaos of the world is a deeply human issue, and yes, it is possible to find it. The essence of tranquility does not lie in external circumstances, but in how we react to them. It's like an imposing mountain. While clouds and storms pass around it, it remains unshakable in its essence. Changes are inevitable, part of the very nature of life. Understanding and accepting this is fundamental. When we recognize that everything is transient, we develop resilience and a perspective that allows us to navigate difficulties with greater serenity. When we focus on acting according to reason and our inner essence, we are not so swept away by the tides of what happens around us. Introspection and self-reflection act as a balm for the soul, allowing us to understand our own thoughts and values. This practice distances us from external turmoil and connects us with what truly matters.
What profound insights! Alan shows us how we can flow with changes, while Marcus reminds us of the importance of maintaining our unshakable essence. I realize that the peace is not the absence of change, but our ability to remain centered amidst the constant movement of life. It's as if we are the eye of the hurricane. Even with all the turmoil around us, there exists a center of calm and clarity. So let's move on. We arrive at an intriguing question that touches on our relationship with goals and change. Alan, is perseverance an essential virtue or a prison that prevents us from accepting the transience of life?
Rubian, this is a profound reflection that deserves our attention. Imagine a person climbing a mountain. If they lack perseverance, they will likely give up at the first obstacle. Perseverance is that vital force that keeps us moving, helps us overcome challenges, and achieve meaningful goals. However, there is a more subtle side to this issue. If that same person becomes obsessively attached to the idea of reaching the summit at any cost, ignoring important signs, such as a storm approaching or their own exhaustion, that perseverance can become a prison. Wisdom lies in recognizing that sometimes the true learning is not in reaching the final goal, but in absorbing the lessons that arise along the way. It is possible that the deepest beauty lies precisely in the valleys that would go unnoticed if we were solely fixated on the peak. The transience of life teaches us that everything is in constant flow. The question is not to abandon perseverance, but to find the balance between persisting and knowing when it's time to let go, allowing life to guide us with its inherent wisdom.
What an enlightening perspective on the balance between persistence and flexibility. Marcus, how do you see this duality between persevering and accepting the transient nature of life?
Perseverance, Rubian, is like a river that flows obstinately, winding around rocks and avoiding obstacles. It is fundamental when anchored in genuine values and purposes. However, this same force needs to be accompanied by discernment so it doesn't become a prison. When we turn perseverance into a web that traps us, into an obstinate desire to control or hold on to something that is destined to change, we lose the intrinsic beauty of transience. The secret lies in persevering with awareness, holding firm to our values while remaining flexible enough to adapt to inevitable changes. This acceptance enriches us, as by dedicating ourselves to what truly matters, we free ourselves from the fear of loss, learning to see each moment as an opportunity for connection with what is essential.
Extraordinary how these views complement each other. Alan brings us the metaphor of the climber who needs to balance determination with wisdom, while Marcus shows us the river that persists but adapts. I've learned that true perseverance is not about clinging rigidly to goals, but about maintaining purpose while dancing with the changes of life. Now we have another profound question about the essence of happiness. Alan, is living in the present enough to find joy? Or do we need something more to fill the existential void?
Rubian, imagine yourself sitting by the edge of a tranquil lake, watching the ripples in the water reflecting the sky. This moment is pure joy and fullness, isn't it? However, behind this serenity, we often encounter the restlessness of the existential void. Living in the present is essential. It's where we find the true essence of life. However, simply being present doesn't mean that all pain or uncertainty will automatically dissolve. The existential void can persist like a silent shadow. Buddhism teaches us to accept impermanence. Being aware of the present moment gives us immense freedom to appreciate the little things, a laugh, a sunset, the taste of a fruit. But it also suggests that we shouldn't ignore our deeper emotions, that echo that tells us there's something more to be explored. The true journey involves not only the practice of living in the now, but also the search for meaning. This search isn't necessarily for something external, but rather for an internal understanding. Embracing our fears and uncertainties is also part of this process.
What a deep reflection, Alan. Marcus, I'd like to hear your perspective on this issue. Is the present enough for us to find true joy?
Look, Rubian, the present is like a door that opens to infinite possibilities, but it's not the only key to our fulfillment. Imagine a multifaceted crystal. Each face reflects a different dimension of our existence. Awareness of the current moment invites us to value each breath, each instant. However, it's important to recognize that simply experiencing these moments doesn't guarantee that we'll find true satisfaction or fill the existential void. This search for meaning requires an appreciation of our internal principles and a commitment to an ethical life. Thus, it's not just about flowing through time, but about aligning our actions with these fundamental truths, allowing inner purity and reason to guide our choices.
Fascinating how each perspective illuminates a different aspect of this issue. Alan shows us how the present is fundamental but not sufficient, while Marcus reminds us of the importance of deeper values and principles. I realize that true joy may come from this combination of fully living in the now and seeking a greater meaning that transcends the present moment. Let's continue exploring. Let's address a question that many of us face silently. Alan, is the search for support a sign of strength or an admission of weakness in a society that values self-sufficiency so much?
Rubian, this is an important reflection that touches on a crucial point of our existence. 2. Many, especially in a society that places self-sufficiency as an ideal, asking for help can seem like a weakness. However, this is where we find one of life's greatest ironies. Imagine a conductor trying to lead an orchestra alone, with no musicians, no instruments. No matter how talented they are, true music only emerges when different talents come together. Similarly, recognizing that we are not alone and that we need each other is a powerful form of emotional intelligence. Seeking support is not a sign of weakness, but an act of courage that reveals our vulnerability and authenticity. It's like an explorer who, even when well-equipped, knows that certain journeys are better undertaken in company. Those who have the courage to expose their fragilities and seek help are the ones who truly grow and become stronger, finding resilience in their connections. Therefore, demystifying the idea that support is weakness is crucial. It is an act of strength to look within, recognize what we lack, and reach out to others.
What a powerful analogy of the conductor and their orchestra. But Marcus, how do you see this issue of support in a culture that values independence so much?
The issue of support, Rubian, needs to be viewed in a completely different light. In fact, recognizing the need for assistance and the willingness to seek help is a mark of greatness and wisdom. It's like a delicately woven web. Each thread contributes to the strength of the whole. Just as a body needs all its parts to function in harmony, we, as individuals, are also social beings, interconnected and interdependent. The idea that we need to be self-sufficient in everything is a distortion of reality that distances us from our true nature. Instead of perceiving the search for support as weakness, it is more insightful to see it as a sign of self-awareness and courage. Admitting that we do not have all the answers and that the support of others can make us stronger demonstrates a deep understanding of our own nature.
It's now clear that true strength lies in recognizing our social nature and embracing the connections that empower us. It's as if each of us is a musical note. Alone we can make a sound, but together we create a symphony. What an incredible conversation we had today. After exploring so many profound perspectives on individuality, perseverance, and the search for meaning, it's clear that we need to rethink our relationship with these fundamental issues of life. During our conversation, we explored how excessive individualism can isolate us, but also how we can find balance between our uniqueness and our connection to the whole. We saw that perseverance without wisdom can become a prison, and that true strength often lies in knowing when to seek support. Alan Watts and Marcus Aurelius, thank you very much for being here today. The wisdom the insights shared with us are truly transformative. I really hope to have you all in future episodes so we can continue these important reflections. For those of you watching, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our upcoming content. We will soon have more episodes exploring deep themes like this, always bringing perspectives that can transform your way of seeing life. Thank you for watching this far, and I wish you to be free from everything that takes away your peace.